3D Pluto acrylic nail art tutorial, part of my classic Disney series by Hotpinkzebrapolish. Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to be showing you the last of my 3D Disney series, and this one is going to be Pluto. I had so much fun making these. I did these all in one day, so it was quite the little marathon sculpting day for me, and I just thoroughly enjoyed each and every one of them. These characters are something that I know I always grew up with, and I can remember always, you know, when you're a little kid, you go to Disney, you want to meet all of the characters, so I really enjoyed doing this, especially Goofy. That was a personal favorite of mine, so I hope you like that one, and don't forget to click subscribe to my future videos as well. So I'm going to start with a layer of white acrylic over the top of the entire nail. Since this is the pinky nail, generally I would do this all in one bead. For some reason, I didn't. I don't know what was going on there, but usually I would just take and make a larger bead and take it all the way down the nail. That's not what I did here. Anyways though, I took two beads, one at the cuticle coming down and then one from the tip going up, just to fill that in. And then I had a little bit of space that didn't quite get any acrylic, so I had to cover that up as well. And then I'm going to take and encase this with a layer of clear acrylic just to make sure that it is nice and strong and thick enough that it's actually going to hold up. And then I'm going to be filing it into shape, starting out with my coarse cone shaped bit, just to make sure that everything is properly shaped and, you know, it's thin at the cuticle and the tip and got an apex. This bit is one of my new favorites. I've used it, well, probably in a dozen designs, I would say, and doing a couple fills and a couple other things, and it really is wonderful. And then I'm going to be just filing the surface of the nail with a smoother bit just to get rid of any scratches, and then clean up the free edge with a hand file, apply a layer of gel sealer, and cure it. So now, to start off my Pluto, I'm going to begin with orange acrylic and just create a circle for his head. One thing that I would like to mention though is that depending on the photo that you look at of Pluto, sometimes he looks more yellow and sometimes he looks more orange, sometimes he's kind of like a school bus yellow. I do not have the school bus yellow, which is the color that I generally would use for him. So I began with orange and then I added a little yellow later on. If you do have that right shade of school bus yellow, or if you feel like mixing it, which I just didn't that day, go ahead and either mix or use that proper school bus sort of orangey yellow sunflower color. And then after I've got his face and his lower jaw and his shoulders and neck done, I'm going to go through and just fill in his mouth with a touch of black acrylic. And I know that at the moment he doesn't really look quite right because he doesn't have his muzzle that comes out, but I will add that in a moment. And then with green acrylic, I'm going to be adding his collar. And I did that first layer and I did end up deciding that it wasn't quite thick enough, but if you do want to add it a little bit, use a stiffer bead and a little bit bigger of a bead, you can do the entire thing at one go at it. I just didn't. I did a little more later. And then I'm going to be adding his eyes with white acrylic, and those are pretty close to the top of his head. So I'm just going to place those down and then remove any excess acrylic with the tip of my brush. And now I'm going to begin adding that little bits of orange to his eyelids, and his eyelids and his muzzle. So when you add them to his eyelids, since his eyes are right next to each other, it kind of almost becomes like one thing that goes like an M shape around the top of his face. A really smooth M shape going all the way around. So just add that extra thickness there. And then using quite a bit of orange acrylic, actually, I'm going to be creating his muzzle that comes straight out from the nail. So just keep adding some more acrylic. First I'm going to go down right along the bottom edge of his eyes and create that line. And then add a little bit more acrylic to that and then create almost the W shape that the bottom of his upper jaw creates. So I'm just going to place that down, and then so it comes up straight in the middle and it creates a little line there. I just kept adding some more of that orange acrylic to really create the depth and the three-dimensionality of this Pluto design. The Pluto of this series, he is the most three-dimensional, but his muzzle just kind of begs to be extra 3D, so I had to make sure that I did that. And then I'm going to be adding his nose, just a little oval right in the center with some more black, and then I'm going to be adding his ears with black. So he's got one ear that's sticking up because he's listening, so I'm going to be adding that one first that's going straight up, and that's why you have to create this guy a little bit farther down on the nail than the other ones, because you do need to leave that space for that listening ear that is sticking up. And then add his other ear that's a little bit, it's on the other side of his head, but is also falling down. He's not listening with both ears, just one. And so that one comes down to the side, just like that. And when you're making the ears like that, because they do have some thinness, they're not very wide, you do want to use a little bit more monomery of acrylic. So you want to add a little more green acrylic, like I said, to his collar, but then there's just a touch of orange acrylic at the base of each ear that I added after the black was on there. And so now I'm going to be adding his tongue after his collar is finished. So I'm going to take a bead of pink and I'm going to set that down, and it pretty much goes all the way from the inside of his mouth down to his collar. So just keep working on that and make sure that you drag a line from the tip of your brush down the center of his tongue to create that indent that it has. And then I'm going to be adding just a little bit of yellow, like I said before. So I'm just going to take some little tiny amounts of yellow acrylic on my brush, very wet acrylic, and just highlight basically. So now I'm going to be adding all of the details to my Pluto with some black acrylic paint. So I know I missed some of them. My camera decided to run out of battery there and didn't tell me. And so I missed a couple outlines, but basically you're just going to go over everything with a black outline except for the black acrylic that doesn't really need it. And I'm also going to be adding a touch of white in his eyes for highlights. Just a little bit, just to brighten those up and make them brighter than the background so they really do show up well. And I'm going to go back through and I'm going to be adding his little pupils with black paint. Just like that. Just a little bit. And then apply matte top coat over the top of all of the 3D art. And that is it for this design as well as this series. If you have missed any of the ones from the past, definitely check the description box below. And this is also my second 3D Disney series. The first one I did was a whole collection of characters from the movies. I know I did the Cheshire Cat and Cruella and Simba, and I'm trying to think of the other ones, but they will be in the description box below. So check those out if you missed those ones from a couple years ago, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!